You are listening to Real Career Talk, the podcast. Welcome to Real Career Talk, the podcast. I'm your host, Sherry Sims, founder of Black Career Women's Network, where career empowerment is our focus and helping you to thrive as Black career women with clarity and confidence is our purpose. You are listening to episode 10, and today we're going to be talking about 5 career tips that benefit Black women. So we have to think strategically about how we choose the best advice to help us move forward in our careers. So not all advice is going to be good for us. So we're going to be talking about a few career tips that can also help you navigate challenges that could delay or stall your career progression. So let's jump right in. Career tip number 1, bust the myth of the angry Black woman in the workplace. Yes, I said it. Yes, that is the number 1 career tip we're going to talk about first is the angry Black woman myth in the workplace. So you want to be able to start all your interactions at work the way you want them to continue. Because the angry Black woman stereotype propels an image of someone who is rude, insensitive, or defensive. And we know all of us are not going to work with that type of attitude. So if you have someone who sees you in that light, do not take their behavior or their communication personally. Seek to understand. And if you are a new employee in the workplace, your coworkers could be feeling you out just to see if you can be trusted or gauge if you are a threat or how adaptable you're going to be to the workplace culture. And if you're a tenured employee, keep in mind that your behavior and how you treat everyone should be the same. It should be consistent. Therefore, when there's employees that are doing the water cooler conversations, no one can speak differently about their experience with you. Just make sure that the behavior is consistent and you're treating everyone with the same level of respect that you want to be treated. But the main thing with the angry Black woman, the angry Black woman myth in the workplace is that, you want to make sure that you're thinking about as a professional, it's your responsibility to really show them how to treat you. It's your responsibility to reflect the type of, to let them understand who you are as a professional. When it comes to how you communicate, how you want to be communicated to, you are the one that can set those standards and expectations by how you also treat them as well. So if you generally have a conflict with a personality in the workplace, whether it's a coworker or a peer, you want to have a conversation with them. But if you feel like that you're unable to neutralize, or maybe if the relationship is not getting better, then get your manager involved to help you work through the relationship just to keep the perceptions neutral. And also show that you are a problem solver and that you're, instead of contributing to the tensions in the workplace, that you are actually showing that you're a problem solver and that you want to be able to work with this person and move forward and continue on with your work performance. So keep things professional and keep things positive. Career tip number 2, keep your professional image polished, tight, and right. Okay. Your professional image is comprised of a total package. It contains how you speak, how you communicate, your attitude, how you treat others, and yes, how well groomed you are. So whether you like it or not, you are judged by your appearance, and you'll be surprised how many Black women I've heard say, "Oh, I've got a degree or I've got 10 degrees, so my looks do not matter. It's all about my education and what I bring to the table." Well, your education brings value to what you do, but girlfriend, guess what? You're disillusioned, because the reality is that we are stereotyped by our looks in the workplace. So it's important for you to strategically consider how your professional image is being perceived versus how you want to be perceived on the job. So what I'm saying is, they look at you, what are they really thinking? And then what are you giving off to be perceived a certain way, right? So you have to be strategic about what that is. If you want them to see you a certain way, then you need to make sure you're projecting that. And part of your image helps with that perception. I've seen some awesome hairstyles, natural hairstyles in the workplace. Yes, and I'm also a naturalista, and I will rock a natural hairstyle in the workplace in a heartbeat. And you do have some companies who accept that with a little bit of resistance, some with hidden discrimination, and others are just open and embracing however you are in terms of your hair. So you have to think about specifically all that comes into play in terms of your image. There's something that we call switching, to where you have some women who go to work and they talk a certain way, they act a certain way, they wear their hair a certain way, they dress a certain way because they don't want to be perceived in a negative light as a Black woman. We should not dumb down who we are in terms of our image in the workplace, but we definitely want to make sure that whatever image that we wanted to convey, that it is a polished image and it does convey truly who we are from an authentic space. And if that workplace is not conducive to what you're wanting to convey from an image standpoint, but also that doesn't meet your workplace values and other combination of things, then maybe you need to think about working somewhere else. But here's the thing. It doesn't get any more stereotypical than an organization that's asking you to alter how you look in order to meet specific things in their company standards. So what you need to keep in mind is that your attire should also reflect the kind of image that your employer may want you to project in addition to your own. So what you might want to try is combining the two. Create a signature style that will meet both you and your company standards. So, for example, if you're teaching people how to dress for job interviews, your attire should reflect the part. It should set the example and not reflect the image of someone who was dressed and ready to hit the club right after work, right? So you have to make sure that your image is conveying not only what you want the people to perceive you as, but what the organization overall will perceive you as well. So the bottom line really is this: the image does count, and that you should stay mindful of your physical appearance. After all, it is part of your overall image and your overall brand. Career tip number 3, find a mentor and be a mentor. Okay. Yes, I think that now Black women are starting to look at, various creative ways to find mentors for themselves. So when you find one, you want to make sure that they can be both a mentor and a sponsor. And if they're unable to be both a mentor and a sponsor, then find one of each. And for those of you who may not be sure what the difference is in a mentor and sponsor, that a mentor is someone who can relate to the challenges and complexities of your career journey. Both of them can do that. So as the saying goes, it takes a village. So for me, they say it takes a village to raise a child. For me, I feel like it takes a village to build a career. So consider having a mentor and a sponsor and peers to be your village. Each have unique benefits that you can leverage. A peer can offer direct in-the-moment support. A mentor can share experiences, give feedback, advice, share leads and connections. Now, although a sponsor can also do the same thing, they're still typically a person of influence within your workplace or within your industry that can be a spokesperson or a cheerleader on your behalf and talk you up to their circle of influence when it comes to really putting together, hey, Sherry's the great person for this job, and this is why. Cultivating a relationship with a sponsor can put you on the fast track to reaching your career goals. So don't get too busy with your own success that you forget to give back. I really believe in that because as Black women, we need each other. We really, really do. So, offer and share lessons and experiences by mentoring someone else, a peer or a young Black woman in your industry. Passing that knowledge on to them is how we build strong Black career women. When you know better, you do better. Let's help the next generation to understand what that means as well. Career tip number 4, cultivate key relationships. Now, believe it or not, everyone is not out to get us in the workplace as some of us might think. However, if we feel like we do not fit in, or if we feel like we've been mistreated or left out, we do begin to isolate ourselves. And that's such not a good thing to do. It becomes so easy for us to just go to work, do the work, and go home. But sometimes you have to play the game to win in corporate America if you want your career to flourish. I know some of you are probably cringing as I say that. I'm not saying for you to be an ass kisser. Don't get me wrong. But you do need to play the game at some point. It is critically important for you to be able to survive in that workplace culture and understand and play by those hidden workplace rules. They do apply. So how do you do it? Here we go. You can start by developing relationships with your peers as well as persons of influence in your workplace. Get to know your teammates by being a great listener. Ask natural questions. Remember the small personal details that will show you that you're listening, that you understand who they are, that it's not all about you, right? So just kind of do the small natural things. You don't have to be fake, but just naturally listen because there may be something in common that you may have with them, and that's going to open the door for you to share more about that common interest. Solicit your opinions to others and always give credit where credit is due, right? Someone else's success is not always the same as your failure. So if you develop these key relationships, it can help make for a better workplace for you. When your work family likes you and trusts who you are and trusts you overall, they're going to want to be around you. So think about that. It goes a long way during your performance reviews and receiving support for career development if your work family really likes who you are. Career tip number 5, know your worth, do good work, and get yourself noticed regardless of the office politics. So I know we have a lot of Scandal fans that are probably listening, and I know Scandal's tapering off, and we probably don't watch as much as we used to. But a lot of us who were really into the first 4 seasons, we remember the one episode where Olivia's dad asked her the question, "What did I teach you?" And her answer was, "Be twice as good." And for those of us who were Black women or Black men who were listening or watching this episode, we knew exactly what she meant by that. And most of us grew up being told that we had to work harder than our counterparts in order for us to get ahead. Some of us still believe this. Do you? Good question. Now, do we have to be twice as good, or is it all about how we navigate the workplace with the office politics? So I remember when I was in my 20s and I was working my tail off in this retail job, and I wanted to be considered for a promotion to department manager for this position, and I was completely overlooked for the role. Never had the opportunity to apply. Was never even approached to if I was interested, and then come to find out. The district manager had given the position to a friend of hers. It was a less tenured employee, and she gave it to her because the district manager, she knew her son or something crazy like that. But the same employee who got the job told me 2 days later that she had threatened to quit if she didn't get the position. So lo and behold, that's why they gave it to her. Completely just overlooked the fact that, I was currently working my tail off in this department and was the only one working in that department at the time that was to get the role. So despite all of the obvious bull crap and the politics involved, yes, for a little while I was a little bit of an angry Black woman, but I did get over that quickly. And I readjusted my attitude and I kept doing good quality work. I stayed confident in who I was and I knew what I had to bring to the table. And it was challenging at times because I really felt slated for a while and figured, wow, why did I get the position? And that to me was probably the very first taste of me knowing what the whole politics thing was about at that age. But, eventually I did move on to a better position with another company. And I was able to get stellar references from that current employer. So even though the point I'm making is, even though I did not get that department manager job, was never even considered for it, even though they did acknowledge the work that I was doing. But I found out the truth for the employee why they got the department manager job. I still knew my worth. I still knew what I brought to the table, and I wasn't going to allow them to diminish that. So I continued to do work until I was able to find a job that I felt like that was going to value what I could bring to the table to move on. So here's the thing overall. The journey to career success sometimes comes with its own set of challenges. And specifically, it can be challenging when you really are, trying to climb that corporate ladder to success. It doesn't have to be a difficult process to do it, but you definitely need to be equipped with and be strategic in terms of your skill sets and what you bring to the table, and how savvy you're going to be to navigate through some of the challenges that can stall or slow down your career progression. So it doesn't have to be a difficult process to achieve your goals. You just need to make sure you're prepared and ready for any situations or opportunities that arise at any time. So let's go ahead and recap the 5 career tips that benefit Black women. Number 1, bust the myth of the angry Black woman in the workplace. Number 2, keep your professional image polished, tight, and right. Number 3, find a mentor and be a mentor. Number 4, cultivate key relationships. And number 5, know your worth, do good work, get yourself noticed regardless of the office politics. So thank you for listening and subscribe to our podcast. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, or SoundCloud. And if you have a moment, take a few seconds to rate our show. We would love to know what you think about it. And you can also follow me on Twitter at BCW Network CEO. You can also join us at bcwnetwork.com. And then also, too, if you have a question you want me to answer on our next podcast, tweet me at BCW Network CEO. And again, thank you for listening. And I will talk to you on our next Real Career Talk podcast.